Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another live session of GETI Talks. My name is Shilpi, and I'm the Relationship Manager with the Global Education and Training Institute. Along with me today is Ms. Latha Murthy, who is the founder and chairperson of Wishwin Edu Services, which is a training institute. Well, Ms. Murthy has an experience of 36 years in education, and she has many awards to herself. Like she is passionate about change in education, and she has been bestowed with the Rajavidya Gaurav Puraskar in 2016, Best Teacher Award by Brainfeed Initiative. She is the recipient of Jewel of India Award, Rashtriya Mahila Ratna Award. So most welcome, ma'am. And I know because you have been into this field for last, 3 decades and more, so obviously you have a wide what do I say, bundle of knowledge and everything with you, so we would love to listen to you, and thank you so much for joining in the disruptive education movement started by Dr. Sunita Gandhi. So ma'am is going to talk about the current pedagogical scenario that is going on. So ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Shilpi, for the lovely introduction. And basically, I am a teacher by profession. We all know that in today's scenario, the world is currently moving at a lightning speed that requires curious, flexible, and proactive people. I highly appreciate Dr. Sunita Gandhi's effort in regards to encouragement and support given to the global educators fraternity in bringing in a great change to the education system. I'm happy that I am a part of GETI Global. Now, today, as we discuss on the disruptive education movement and talking about the current pedagogical scenario which prevails at present in this world. What has happened all of a sudden is a disruption, which is a sudden break or interruption, which took place approximately 8 months back. Now, disruptive education is therefore that which intends to break with the established model to improve the existing one. The existing one means the education system which is prevailing at present. Now, let me start with the education, which is a multiple learning lifetime process of gaining knowledge from all means. Now, the present education system is mainly based on intelligent quotient. I think you all agree with me. Now, to improve the quality of the present education system, emotional intelligence subject should be implemented as compulsory subject at schools and college levels. That's what I feel. We need fast track updating of teachers' knowledge through refresher courses and extending internet facilities to improve the quality of teaching. And now that we get to know is the introduction of UNESCO Commission on Education in the year 1972 declared that education is a lifelong process and it is considered to be established like a learning society or society which knows how to learn, to grow, and to transform itself to the needs of ever-changing world. We also know about Swami Vivekananda. He said that education is not the amount of information that is put into your brain. If you have assimilated 5 ideas and made them your life and character, you have more education than any man who has got by heart a whole library. But the new definition is like this. Education is a multiple lifetime learning process of gaining knowledge from parents, teachers, friends, and neighbors, books, and journals, movies, television channels, and internets, as well as from experiences and exposures to different environments. Now, any kind of learning of an individual beneficial to mankind and nature is under the scope of education. The knowledge which equips everyone to suit for the changing world and also to modify the societal conditions to realize his or her own goals, that is also considered in the new definition, according to me. Now, society need based revision of curriculum should take place. Quality and standard of education depends on continuous reviewing and updating of the curriculum of the students in the schools, colleges, and university levels periodically. That means there should be a periodical evaluation happening on a regular basis and a faster mode. We have the NEP, that's the National Education Policy, which will definitely give the broader perspective and bring in all changes required in education and in the progressive education scenario, what we are discussing on today. Now, let me talk about innovation. Now, innovation is one of the watchwords of the 21st century, and training must form part of this revolution, or you can call it as evolution also, in order to bring it into line with the demands of an increasingly hyperactive and hyper connected world. There's a lot of competition in the world in regards to education. In order to meet all these challenges, technology is an essential ally when promoting a disruptive form of education that puts learning in a new light. I believe many experts think the change is both necessary and urgent because the current system is anachronistic. In other words, it is still anchored in the last century and is failing to address the needs of the digital age. I think you all agree with me. Just imagine if each and every corner of the world we would spread with digital technology in teaching and learning process. How will the world look? But where are we now? We have to give a thought to all these. In today's time, where there is a huge crisis of moral values in society, value based education proves out to be the solution. Through value based education, we can develop the children into people with strong character and values who know how to utilize their knowledge for the advantage of mankind. This is what I suggest for our younger generation. We all very well are aware that the main purpose of school is to provide for the fullest possible development of each learner for living morally, creatively, and productively in a democratic society. Now, education is also the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. Educational methods include teaching, training, storytelling, discussions, and directed research, and more. There are plenty. Now, few of the points which one needs to think about is how do we gain or get education? Or, in other words, how does one become educated? Is it only through books? Or is it only through, going to schools, colleges? Do we need a teacher or a guru to learn something and gain knowledge? So, can anyone tell me who was the first teacher? Who was the first person to set up a school environment? Do we really think about all these nowadays in our busy schedules? How much does one value education? Do our younger generation or the ongoing generation know about learning of all these matters? If you pose a question to them about this, how many of them will be able to answer? We have to give a thought for this. Now, education is also the act or process of imparting or acquiring general knowledge, developing the powers of reasoning, then judgment, and generally of preparing oneself or oneself or the others intellectually for mature life. And the act or the process of imparting or acquiring particular knowledge or skills for as for a profession. So that is the act or the process of imparting this knowledge. And finally, yes, we get into some profession and then we start working and we take care of our families. And there are so many responsibilities, roles and responsibilities that we have to have in the society. Kraft in 1984 noted that there are two different Latin roots of the English word education. Now they are educare, that means educare, educare, and this means to train or to mold, and educere, educere, meaning to lead out. I hope I'm not talking too much about the knowledge given to our participants today. Now, research in e-learning has shifted in the recent years. We all know that. And its emphasis from almost purely technical aspects to pedagogy-oriented interests. Now, this shift is an indication of a positive trend which testifies to the preoccupations of the teachers and educators. Now, nevertheless, and despite declarations of good intentions, more research effort should be made to attract more teachers towards the use of learning technologies, or you get into digital transformation. Now, in our work, what we favor and in favor of we do in favor of developing pedagogical approaches. However, since the field of learning technologies has made significant progress in recent years, we have to support this trend. We have to walk hand in hand to support this trend. Then only we will be able to reach each and every corner of the world. Now, this is going to be our future, and as mentioned earlier, we have to adapt to this change very swiftly. Pedagogy is an increasingly important component of education, now regarded as part and parcel of an academic discipline. Each and every college, each and every schools, each and every preschools, everybody have got a pedagogy for themselves. Now, the digital technology action puts into consideration the interactions between teachers, students, and the learning environment and learning tasks. It also incorporates how teachers and students relate together and how the instructional approaches are employed in differentiated learning tasks and environment using technology. Due to recent developments in the educational context, education experts have heightened interest in examining pedagogy as an academic discipline and how the entire process influences the interactions and growth of learners during learning and thereafter. So that means that a pedagogy is a must, and it is it is considered as an academic discipline. So, what I want to say is that India holds an imperative place in the worldwide education industry. The nation has more than, I think, 1.5 million schools with more than 260 million students enrolled and around 751 universities, according to my data, and approximately 35,539 colleges. Now, India has one of the biggest advanced education framework on the planet. So we have to give claps to that. Notwithstanding, there is still a ton of potential for facilitating improvement in the education framework, which is definitely going to be implemented by the new education policy. The education sector in India is ready to witness significant development in the years to come. You know why? India will have world's biggest tertiary age populace and second biggest graduate ability pipeline internationally before the finishing of the year 2020-21. The education sector has considered a host of reforms and accelerated economic outlays in recent years that could perchance transform the country into knowledge heaven. Now, let me talk about how the scenario started changing. You might have all read about some highlights like a new pedagogy is emerging and online learning is a key contributing factor. Yes. Now, 1.5 billion students around the world, according to UNESCO, were engaged in remote learning at the height of COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020. Some students were able to access the internet to do so, but not all. The majority of students around the world who have access to smartphones are able to use these as learning devices. Others are more fortunate and have tablets, laptops, or desktops. And their instructors, some with no previous experience of teaching online or at a distance, discovered new approaches to teaching and learning. And imaginative work was undertaken to overcome the very real challenges this current reality gives rise to many questions in mind. We might have questions like this. What is the new pedagogy of online teaching at scale really like? Or what does engaged learning look like in the new environment? We are totally into the new environment right after the pandemic has struck us. Then how can online teaching or learning produce outstanding learning experiences? At first, many faculty sought to replicate online what they normally do in classrooms. Normally, when we go to classrooms, what we were doing, we were, as I told you that I have been a teacher throughout. We go to the class, we prepare ourselves, we have a lesson plan, we go and deliver that and ensure that all the children learn. Then we have an assessment and all that, right? So the same way, at first, when this pandemic struck us, the online teaching was sought to be replicating the online classes to replicate the normal classes. Then they soon discovered this was not a strategy that was practical, as not all students could access synchronous classes reliably, and many had challenges such as other siblings or parents needing access to the technology, the costs of broadband internet access exceeding their ability to pay, or were in different time zones, nor was it efficient. In fact, what faculty began to discover is what has been known for some time. There is no empirical evidence that says that classroom instructions benefit students. Okay, this is a compared to alternatives. It doesn't benefit students from a learning achievement perspective. Now, faculty, I'm talking about the teachers, the facilitators who are handling the online classes, began to experiment with personal challenges, small group work, project-based learning, and the recording of short videos, and they were sending it to the students. They began to explore pedagogy, the science and the art of instruction based on design. So these were the things what our faculties used to do. Now, faculty also sought help from their colleagues with previous experience teaching online, looking for evidence for what worked in their discipline. They were inspired by examples for creative arts and music, where Zoom rehearsals and performance produced remarkable and life changing events. Some discovered open education resources, materials, labs, videos, stimulations, games that help them find new ways of engaging their online learners. And now we have come out with so many digital platforms, Microsoft, Google, then we have Cisco, WebEx, sorry, and we also have Zoom, and then we some are still using WhatsApp media at present. No, so some truly innovative design ideas emerged. Such a course on COVID-19 also was brought into limelight, in which different angles, that is epidemiology, economics, psychology, virology, politics, all these became the focus for each week taught by a faculty member from that particular discipline. I'm not only talking about the schools, I'm talking about the higher education as well. Now, pedagogy, when we call it as pedagogy, and how are we going to take this forward? How can this pedagogy be achieved? Now, the answer lies in innovation, innovative approaches, innovative methods, and innovative formats. What we are talking about here, for example, is artificial intelligence. Everybody is aware of that now. Gamification. Frankly speaking, I really believe in all this. This is really being so well received in the virtual classroom atmosphere as an effective way of getting pupils to study using games. Then they are also using design elements, which is non-game context. We also have teacher tubers. We also have massive open online courses. We have lifelong learning, business, e-learning, and all other possibilities that technology offers. So, what I would like to end this talk as is by stating that one has to adapt to any type of changes in education by digitally transforming and implementing holistic learning in the education system. I thank all the participants today And I thank Shilpi, thank Dr. Sunita Gandhi for having given me this opportunity to speak today. Any questions, Shilpi?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that a little insight into the pedagogical system today. Questions would be like, suddenly there's a change in the way teachers are making the lesson plans these days.
Yes,
So if they are not so technologically sound, I believe the lesson plans will also not be that much interesting if they are making it. So, how would you would encourage teachers, and also like they're a little skeptical as to introducing these kind of things into the class, even because now if they go offline also the classes, I think technology will become a part of it. These online things will be off and on. It's not that it
yes,
will suddenly get out of the system. So most of the teachers would feel that how to incorporate it in a 40-minute period, in a day's timetable. So how would you suggest them, like, what is the way they should plan it out so that it's easier for them to bring in technology along with that traditional system of education?
I understand. It's a nice question, and it will be very helpful for the teachers, folk, so that they understand how to take this forward. Now, what has happened is that earlier we used to write or we used to, make a word format system and making our lesson plans and all that, right?
Yeah.
So now what has happened is that there are some, digital platforms which help the teachers. I understand that all the teachers were not technically savvy. Even I was not. Yes. So there is a lot of learning and there's a lot of hard work which goes into being digitally savvy. So there are so many training programs. There are so many other things. If you want to become a digital savvy teacher, because as you mentioned, Shilpi, you said that yes, now we are using online classes. Later on, we also have offline also. And when the schools reopen, at that point of time, also we'll be using the technology without fail. Correct? We cannot get back to our old system now.
No,
We
yeah.
have to use technology by the side, and then we have to go side by side the running of the classrooms and all. So the teachers, the technology itself makes it simpler for them. If they learn the simple techniques, it will be making them understand better, and they themselves, the lesson plan can be uh, made by the system itself, the technology itself. The technology is so vast, and it has become so what you say, I can tell you, fast forward, we are in the age of robotics and artificial intelligence now. So the system itself takes your lesson plan and it creates your lesson plan for you. That is a system which we are in now. So the teachers will not find it difficult. Only the effort from the teachers end should be that they should show interest in getting themselves transformed,
Yes.
and the technology will definitely help them to make their lesson plans.
Right.
And
So I think that brings into the picture that teachers do need some kind of refreshers training.
yes,
Uh,
they need
with
a technical training. Yes,
with this changing
technology training.
scenario. Yes.
Yes,
So this is for the information of the audience. Getty is also into teachers training, and currently we are having trainings going on on project based learning and other no new pedagogies that are into the system.
yes,
So all those who are listening and would like to enroll, please you can see the numbers going down below on the borderline. You can call that number, and you can get your schools registered for it. Thank you so much, ma'am.
yes,
Thank you for being here and giving a little more importance to the pedagogy, because these days people were just talking about how online parenting, how
yes,
online
yes,
learning for children and everything is making a difference. But then pedagogy is the main thing, because like yes, another question before I end. Do you see a very big change in the pedagogy itself? Like we learned when we were doing up, we had something like Bloom's taxonomy. We learned about Howard Gardner's intelligence and all that. I
correct.
believe this modern thing, the entire thing has changed. So that would be my last question to you. So what kind of a shift do you see in the pedagogy?
Okay. See, what we have done is take it from the ancient times. Okay.
Yeah.
The technology is just a support which is given to emphasize and to modernize ourselves, and the teaching practice to be enhanced. Okay. Now, what this pedagogy, technology, digital transformation, and holistic learning, or whatever we call it as, that technology is, basically taken from the What is holistic learning? It is taken from, our ancient times itself, right?
Yes.
So that is not, we have introduced technology as definitely, but we keep our values, we keep our ethics, everything included in the
Yes.
digital world right now. So
Definitely.
all those are still prevalent, and it is a part of our pedagogy.
Right. So that actually is a very good way to sum up that, many people are these days saying, we have to leave behind what
Yeah.
was there and we have to move forward. But even you have just echoed what was in my mind, that no, we don't have to leave anything behind. We actually
Yes,
have to carry it on as a legacy. And this is
exactly.
what we have to add on, because this
Yes,
is just add on. It is not something which is actually a very grounded thing. This is just an add on.
yes,
Grounded thing was something like Howard Gardner and something like Bloom's. They had found, and that is the basis of teaching and will always remain that.
yes. It
So
will
thank you
always
so
remain.
much. Yes, it was a lovely discussion, and we hope to have you in the near future again, ma'am. Thank you so
Definitely,
much.
I'll be there for you, and
Sure.
wish you all the best, and happy weekend.
Thank you. Same to you, ma'am.